We'll call to order the Fiscal Audit Committee of the Schenectady County Industrial Development Agency for purposes of reviewing the 2019 audit. And first I'll ask Jamie to do a roll call for the record so we can make it clear which members are in our call.
Okay. Gary, we got you here, right?
I'm here.
Evan Christo, present. Chris Gardner, present. Grant Sosha, having a baby. Sarah May Pratt,
Present.
hi. Joe Halot, present. And Rosemary.
Present.
All right.
All right. Well, and the audit committee is called to order, and Jamie walk us through the audit at this point.
Right. So Cusack and Company undertook the audit several months ago. It was a standard kind of process and procedure, working closely with Maureen on the financial records of the IDA. As you can tell from the write-up that we submitted, the audit is a clean, unqualified opinion. There were no adverse or material findings. So this has been norm for the IDA for many years. So no discrepancies or any problems financially with the organization. Just in terms of sort of the broad numbers, it was not a very active year for the agency. The primary project and most of the transactions relate to the Glenville Rail project, working with the DOT grant and Metroplex. And so there were just a series of transactions in which dollars flow from Metroplex into the IDA and then out to our vendor, Regal Rail, who has performed all the work, completed the work. The project's been done. All the paperwork was submitted to state DOT, and just this week we received a check from DOT for a majority of the grant, $282,000. So we're very happy that the project has been successful, and DOT has kind of cleared us. So the report also shows only one bond transaction is still outstanding. So as you know, we don't do too many bond transactions anymore. So that's just in summary the audit for 2019, which once through committee and adopted by the agency, will file on the IDA's website, and it has already been submitted to the authority's budget office. Any questions?
I just make the comment that I think the rail project is a good example of some of the good public work that the Industrial Development Agency can engage in and appropriately does engage in, because nobody else is probably going to build a railroad into an industrial park.
Agreed.
May I have a motion and a second for the Fiscal Audit Committee to accept the 2019 audit?
This is Evan Christo. I make the motion to accept the audit.
Rosemary, I'll second it.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The Fiscal Audit Committee has accepted the audit. May I have a motion to adjourn the Fiscal Audit Committee and a second?
Evan Christo, I make the motion.
Rosemary,
All in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Fiscal Audit Committee is adjourned. Call to order the May 15th meeting of the Schenectady County Industrial Development Agency. For the record, we'll note that the same individuals who were present for the Fiscal Audit Committee are present for the board meeting. Can I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the February 7th, 2020 meeting?
This is Evan Christo. I make the motion.
Second. Sounds like we have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Moving to the Treasurer's report, call on Jamie to make that report for us.
Right, there's not much activity to report for the first 4 months of the year. Paid some legal bills, paid for our audit. The cash on hand for the organization stands at $13,735. Although I mentioned we do have a $282,000 check in our office. You'll also see the report showing the transactions for the year. Again, not a lot of activity to date, but with that, I can answer any questions, or Maureen can answer any questions you might have.
The members have questions?
I don't.
Hearing none, may I have a motion and a second on the treasurer's report?
This is Evan Christou. I make the motion. Chris Gardner seconds.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the treasurer's report is accepted. We move on to item number 3 on the agenda. This is the 2019 audit resolution 48120, and this is the adopting the audit by the commission, which we discussed earlier this morning in the fiscal audit committee. May I have a motion and a second on the audit, please?
Evan, motion. All right, Evan Christou, I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. We discussed this pretty thoroughly in the audit committee, but is there any further discussion or questions about the audit before we adopt it? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. The audit is approved, and the staff of the IDA is authorized to submit this to the authorities, posted on our website. We have the remainder of our business this morning are a series of policy resolutions that we enact each year in compliance with the regulations of the authority's budget office. Jamie had suggested that we combine this calendar and move it in its entirety, and I am comfortable with that with one provision. And that one provision is I do believe that we should review each of these policies so that we can honestly say that we reviewed them in public and that we had discussion on them. So for purposes of discussion, let's move to item number 4, which is 48220, the mission statement and performance measures. Jamie, can you explain that briefly?
Yep, this is a requirement of the authority's budget office. The mission statement for the agency has been the same since it was originally adopted many years ago. We do establish performance goals and post the results from 2019. So I think it's always interesting to look at our jobs report, for example, which showed an increase in 43 jobs among the many projects that the IDA has in its folder, with 6,599 jobs reported altogether. Like I said, an increase of 43 over last year. Pilot payments had increased by 1% to over $10 million. And then we established the metrics for this coming year. And again, expecting more projects to move ahead, particularly with Rivers Ledge and the solar project in Princetown. The second policy item is the investment policy, which really is guided by the state comptroller's office. We use their recommended policy for investment. So obviously it is very conservative and cautious. Again, no changes there from prior years. The property disposition policy and report is the same in prior years. Again, this is a template from the authority's budget office. There's only one property that the agency holds at this stage. The procurement policy provides for competitive bidding on any bidding above $15,000. Again, same as prior years. And the whistleblower policy is one that was adopted just 1 year ago. Again, consistent with what the APO requires, and again, a template of their requirements. So that's the package of policies that we are reviewing today. And then with your acceptance, again, gets posted on the agency website and sent to the authority's budget office.
And just for the benefit of any of the public on the call, or for the record, the one property that we hold is 101 Washington Avenue, United Suites at Washington.
That's right, the college suites with the student housing project where there's a land lease in place.
Are there any questions or discussion about any of the policies?
Yeah, Joe Halata, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, are with the pandemic going on, are we on track? Is what we're doing equal to the previous years, or is things within the city of Schenectady slowed down?
That's a good question, Joe.
Sorry, Gil, do you want to take a shot at that?
Yeah, why don't you start, Ray?
Yeah, obviously things have slowed down. I mean, there's a ban on people going to work in our region for right now. We're fortunate that a lot of the manufacturers and different organizations in Schenectady County are still working as they're deemed essential businesses. For example, GE, Adirondack Beverage, we talked about with the rail line, Dimension Fabricators, Knowles Atomic Power Lab. We have a lot of people still able to work. The county is working very hard with neighboring counties to start the 4-phase reopening plan. Activity levels are down. What we're trying to do is set up as many projects as possible to start as soon as the ban is lifted and work can begin again, so that as many job creating, investment producing, projects we can get in the pipeline as possible. So that's kind of our goal, is to set things up and continue to try to restart the economy and help restart the economy as soon as we can. So it's a tough situation. The deal flow has definitely slowed down. It's very unfortunate that because if you look back in January of this year, more people were working in Schenectady County than at any time in history. And same goes for the entire capital region. So we went from the highest point ever to double-digit unemployment now, and that's a real concern. So our goal is once the economy is allowed to reopen, to hit the ground running with as many projects as we can, to starting with construction and phase 1 and all of that, to try to get things going.
All right. Yeah, I guess my question was, that does answer part of it. My question was, financially speaking, is the city of Schenectady financially taking a hit? Are they going in the hole, or what? I guess I'm wondering. I'm concerned about their well-being financially.
Maybe I could take a whack at that, Joe. The city and the county are seeing significant dips in our sales tax revenue coming in, as will Metroplex. So the exact extent of it remains to be seen, but it appeared to be down the last few weeks by about 29% or so.
Okay. Who was I speaking to just then? Who was
Chris Gardner.
Okay, Chris. Thank you. That's good.
So obviously, Joe, is the source of concern to all of us who are on the call, who are elected officials, and I need to be mindful of our budgets. But it is what it is, and at least in the case of the county, our posture at this point is we're in the middle of a public health emergency. So we'll come back and clean up the financial mess when we can come back and clean up the financial mess.
Okay. Very good. Thanks. Yes, and I'm hoping for the best for Schenectady, because I have seen a great improvement, and so that's my concern.
Well, we're all there with you in our hopes.
Thanks.
Let's see. Any other discussion on the policies? Any other questions? Hearing none. Jamie, remind me, do we have a motion in the second to move this in its entirety, or I think we do
now? I will make a motion to move on to combine the 5 resolutions: 482, 20, 483, 20, 484, 20, 485, 20, and 486, 20 as a whole. I'll second that motion. This is Evan Christou.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hearing none, the policies are approved.
Well, now we have to vote on the policies themselves, Gary. We
Okay.
combine them.
Let's take a motion and a second on the combined, policies.
I'll make the motion. This is Evan Christou. I'll second Chris Gardner.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Policies are adopted. Moving to resolution 487-20. This is election of officers. The resolution, resolves as follows that, Gary Hughes is chair, Evan Christou is vice chair, Grant Osha would be treasurer, Christopher Gardner secretary, and Rosemary Perez Jaquith would be assistant secretary, which I believe are the same set of officers that we have at.
No, I'm the new one.
You're the new one. Welcome.
I'm the,
Any discussion on this? Everybody's agreeable to be an officer?
Yes. Yeah, I didn't ask that question, Gary.
Well, it's good to ask, you know? People like to be asked. Hearing no further discussion, can I have a motion and a second on the election of officers for the 2020 term for the IDA, Resolution 48720.
this is,
The motion?
oh, Sarah, I'll make that motion or second.
I think we have a motion and a second out there. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 10 is any other business that we may have that has to come before the IDA this morning. Hearing none, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
This is Evan Christou. I make a motion to adjourn. Joe Halal, second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Hearing none opposed, motion carries and the IDA meeting is adjourned. Don't go away because we are going to immediately call to order the Fiscal Audit Committee of the Schenectady County CRC for the 19 audit of Community Resource, Capital Resource Corporation. I don't think I need a motion for that, do I?
Joe?
I think we just called it to order.
Yep.
Jamie, could you walk us through the CRC audit?
Yes. So, Cusack and Company again was in our office, checked the books and records of the CRC, worked with Lauren very closely, provided their annual report, clean and unqualified audit for 2019. No issues were raised. The CRC, as you know, had a relatively quiet year with just providing some assistance for the Indian Chill Nature Preserve and support for CDRCC. The rest of it is a very standard set of provisions within the audit. Again, will get posted on the CRC website and submitted to the ABL.
Are there any questions related to the CRC audit? Hearing none. I have a motion and a second on the Fiscal Audit Committee accepting the 2019 audit for the
Evan
CRC.
Christou, I make the motion. Joe Halal, second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. The Fiscal Audit Committee has accepted the audit, and now we motion to adjourn the Fiscal Audit Committee.
Evan Christou.
And Rosemary, I'll move or second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 This audit committee is adjourned, and we will call to order the board meeting of the Schenectady County CRC, with the first motion being the approval of minutes of the February 7th meeting. If I can have a motion in a second.
Joe Halal, I make the motion.
Rosemary, I'll
All in
second.
favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? None. Minutes approved. Next two on the agenda this morning is the treasurer's report for the CRC, and I will defer to Jamie to make that presentation.
Again, not much activity for the first 4 months of the year, paying for the audit for CUSAC. Cash on hand stands at $21,936. You have the copy of the balance sheet comparing it with 1 year ago. And again, you'll see that there were about half dozen transactions during the first 4 months.
Do we have any questions on the treasurer's report? Hearing none. A motion and a second on the treasurer's report.
Evan Christo, I make the motion.
Joel, second.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Treasurer's report is adopted. Item number 3 is the 2019 audit resolution 213-20. This is the audit that the fiscal audit committee just reviewed in the meeting prior to this. Any other questions, comments on the audit? Hearing none, can we have a motion and a second to accept the audit and submit it, post it on our website and submit it to the budget office?
Evan Christo, I make the motion.
Rosemary, I'll second.
And all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And the audit is approved and accepted. We have essentially the same, well, somewhat different list of policies that we have in place at the CRC, and I suggest the same process, which is I'll ask Jamie to review them with us, particularly the mission statement, because I think the metrics are a little different. And then we'll take a motion to combine them, and then another motion to accept them. So, Jamie, do you want to start with the mission statement and 2020 performance measures?
Sure. So once again, this is a requirement of the ADO. The mission statement has been unchanged pretty much since the CRC's inception almost 10 years ago. The goals and for the performance side of it, there was not much to report for 2019. There were no major projects undertaken. We established our performance goals for 2020, always working with our not-for-profits and looking to see if we could provide some assistance, and hopefully we'll put something in the pipeline sometime soon. Moving on to the investment policy, again, template of the Office of the State Comptroller has not changed. The investment report provides the cash on hand with respect to our policy. The property disposition policy is the same template of the ADO. The CRC has no property holdings. The procurement policy is identical to the IDA's in terms of any of a competitive bidding process to purchase any materials or supplies. And the whistleblower protection policy was adopted 1 year ago to be in compliance with ADO requirements. Again, with your consent, these policies would be posted on the CRC website and submitted to the ADO.
Any questions or comments on any of the policies? I would just make the comment that I think the metrics for 2020 as posted are fine, but I would add the same caveat that Joe raised the last time, and that's that we're in changing times, so we're in control of when those times will improve. But I think it's fine for purposes of having a metric. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, can I first have a motion to combine the items for purposes of the vote?
Chris Gardner, I make a motion to combine policy compliance resolutions 214-20, 215-20, 216-20, 217-20, and 218-20.
Got a second?
Joe, hold on a second.
Very good. Now, can I have another motion and a second to actually approve the policies.
We have to vote on that first and then,
Yeah, we have to vote to
Yeah, I
combine.
guess put on that first. All in favor signify by saying aye. We're combining the policies.
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now we'll take a motion and a second on approving the policies as combined.
Evan, Chris, do I move?
Rosemary, I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Policies are approved. Can be posted, can be reported. Our last item on the CRC agenda is Resolution 219-20. This is the election of officers. The officers of the are identical to the officers of the IDA. So once again, I'll just ask if everybody wants to be an officer. And if no one say no, I'll ask for a motion and a second.
Evan, do I make the motion?
I'll second, Rosemary.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, the officers are elected. Is there any other business to come before the CRC this morning? Hearing none, can I have a motion and a second on adjournment of the board of the CRC?
So I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Evan, Chris, do I second it?
Moved and seconded. All in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. No opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.